So I hope these videos are okay today because I'm using my phone instead of my iPad. Now, the domain of a function, we've got issues that come up. Whenever I have a radical, I can't have a negative. So whatever I get for x, it has to be greater than 0. Because I don't know what a negative, I can't have a negative x in that case. The other thing is, I can't divide by 0. So that means it becomes undefined at that particular place. So what I have to do now is I have to look at these functions and deal with what's happening based on these rules up here. So find the domain. If we have this function, we've talked about domain already, but what we're looking for is we're looking for the limitations. I got x plus 3. The first thing is x plus 3 cannot equal 0. Because we're not going to be able to graph that. Because 2 divided by 0 is undefined. So x cannot equal, I work this just like I'm doing a regular equation, cannot equal negative 3. Because negative 3 plus 3 makes 0, and that gives me 2 divided by 0. So x cannot equal negative 3, but we also know x plus 3 has to be greater than 0. Why? Because, well, we can't do equal to 0. We just ruled out the equal to 0. So x plus 3 has to be greater than 0. So x has to be greater than negative 3. So based on this little piece of information here, and then this, I come up with the fact that this function as a domain for x has to be greater than negative 3. Now, because what happens if I put negative 4 in here, I have negative 4 plus 3 gives me negative 1. The square root of negative 1, I don't know it. So I don't get an answer. It's not possible. If I have negative 3, that's back to this negative 3 plus 3, I get 0. Now for part B, a little bit different. We don't have to worry about the dividing by 0, but I do have to worry about the idea that the square root of x, I got to worry about that, and I have to worry about the square root of 5 minus x. So this tells me x has to be greater than or equal to 0. So I worry about what's underneath. Here, this is telling me that 5 minus x has to be greater than or equal to 0. Well, I'm going to add x to both sides. So 5 greater than or equal to, x has to be less than 5 or equal to 5. So we've got this combination happening here. X has to be greater than 0. So I'm going to put down my x. It has to be greater than or equal to 0 from here. But it has to be less than or equal to 5. So that's the domain for that question. So I take the two parts and it gives me an interval where this function will work. Okay? Composite functions. Whew. That's the next step. We'll stop for now.